Hey guys, it's Stephanie K here. So today I really want to talk about a question that I get often with people coming into this business, okay? So because we grow our business solely off of social media and that's how we train, one of the biggest questions I get is, okay, so how do I post or differentiate my postings to target customers or to target business partners? So one thing I want to talk about first off is switch that mindset from who can I target and how can I target them to who can I help and how can I help them. Okay. So for me, I'm not here to sell somebody on anything. I'm not here to take somebody's money and have them become a business partner. I'm here to truly be like, okay, so how can I help this person? What is their quote unquote problem and what solution can I provide for them? Okay. So think about your own journey. And that's going to be number one key is when I am making posts or talking in my Instagram stories or whatever, I am telling a story. I want to be able to relate to people and I want to touch people's feelings by relating with them. Okay. So one of the things I like to share is when let's talk about business partners, for example. If you are like, okay, so how can I grow my business with more business partners? How can I help more people start this business with me and truly see the benefits of becoming a business partner with me in this business? So I want you to think about your story. I want you to think about where you were. So you need a past, present, and future when you're telling a story, right? That's just a given. So when you're talking about or wanting to gain that business partner, I want you to think about where you were before you came into this business, where you are today, what it's going to be doing for you in the future, right? Maybe you are brand new to this. Maybe you don't know that story yet or you don't have that story yet. Okay. So I want you to really think hard about why did you start this? Where were you financially, mentally? And you don't have to talk about numbers, but where were you as a person, as a mom, as a wife, as a husband, as, a homework, anything like that? Where were you prior to coming into this and what made you decide to say, okay, I need more for my life. I deserve more. My family deserves more, whatever it is. Like, what made you take that leap of faith and jump into this business? Okay. So for me, let me give you an example how this storyline can work with my story. So prior to coming into this business, I was just a stay-at-home mom. I previously did a different business that I decided just wasn't for me, wasn't for my family, wasn't for my health, things like that. And I decided to step away from that. Okay, so then there was a 9-month stretch where I was just strictly a stay-at-home mom and wasn't bringing in income. I decided that I was going to rack up almost $20,000 in credit card debt and become defaulted on it for several months because I didn't have an income, and that's what happened. So by the time I ended up starting this, it had become my normal to wake up to emails from my son's school saying, hey, your son's lunch account is in the negative again, or wake up to emails from my bank and being like, hey, your bank account has reached below zero again, or it had become normal for me to not have money and to become more and more in debt because I was paying my bills with credit that I didn't have. You know what I mean? And then I obviously wasn't paying those minimum payments because where was that money coming from? Anything like that. So by the time that I came into this business, I decided for myself, like, man, like my downward spiral was creating this mental fog. Like I was super stressed, everything. I didn't have patience for people, for conversations, for anything. I wasn't enjoyable to be around. I wasn't happy. I lived in fear. I lived in fear of what other people would think of me. Like I kept, some of my darkest secrets in because I had this pride hanging over my head where I was like, nobody can know that this is what's going on in my head or in my life. So by the time I came into this, I was like, okay, I'm making the decision that my family deserves a better version of me. My kids deserve a happy mom. I deserved a better version of me. So I decided that I wasn't going to let fear keep me from being a better version of myself for not only me, but for my family. So when I came into this business, I had that like, here's why I'm doing it, right? So that was my past, that was my before. Okay. And then my present was like, I joined into this because this, and this. And already, like, I am being able to help people create better versions of themselves with a product that has been giving me energy, that has been helping me with my stress, that has been giving me better mental clarity, things like that, helping me become a happier person for my kids and for my family, right? So that kind of transformed. And then several months later, I was able to pay off that credit card debt. And several months later, I was able to build a full-time income. 2.5 years later now, I am staying home, or like I'm home with my kids still, present with a full-time income, being able to work from my bed clearly, at my fingertips from my phone, and I'm present for my family, and I'm no longer stressed. I'm no longer in credit card debt. I'm no longer worried about how many more bills that I'm gonna have to put on the back burner. My bills are all paid up. You know what I mean? So like, I had a present or a past, a present, and a future story. Like that kind of stuff relates to people. People can relate to things like that because that kind of thing happens more often than people think, and more people than not will be scared to share that and open up with people, right? So your neighbor could be going through something just like that and you wouldn't have a clue because they've got pride and they don't want people to know that. And that was me. Okay. So maybe this is your first week. Maybe you just came into this business and you're like, well, I don't have a story like that. You do though. Why did you decide to jump into this business? What did you need to change in your life? Like what triggered your mind to be like, okay, like I need this, I need better, my kids need better, whatever it is, this is why I'm here. Show that passion. Let that passion show in your posts, in your videos, in your Instagram stories, because people can relate to that passion. They can relate to you, okay? So one of the other things I like to talk about when I am, trying to help inspire people and trying to help other people through my own stories and through my own journey is talking about hesitations, because let's be honest, everybody has some type of a hesitation or many when starting anything new, especially this type of an industry, because this type of an industry I feel like has such a bad rep because so many people come into this, have zero clue what to do, and just kind of fly off the seat of their pants, and maybe they grow it super unauthentically, or they look spammy or things like that, and people can't relate to that because they weren't taught how to become relatable with this and how to truly put themselves out there versus pushing a product out there. Because again, we're not here to sell a product. We're not here to sell promoter accounts. We are here to help people and find a solution for their problems, whether that be a solution to, I'm never home for my kids. I want to be able to see my kids grow up. I want it I want something to be able to work from home, or I have this, student loan debt that has just been hanging over my head and it's blocking me from being able to do so many things with my family that we have plans for. And like, I would really love to just be able to get that paid down or pay extra toward that every month. Like, figure out where people are, where they're at, and help find them a solution. Okay. So some of the hesitations that a lot of people will bring up, myself was included, was like, I don't want to sell. I don't know how to sell. I don't have the time. I have 2 jobs. I'm a full-time student. I have kids. I don't want to be that person that cold messages people because I get those people in my inboxes and that's annoying. We don't cold message here, by the way. I don't have many friends. I stick to myself. Like, nobody's friends with me. I have 100 people on Facebook. Like, I live in a small town. I live on a farm where we don't have any neighbors. Like, I don't know anybody. Things like that. Those are all reasons versus excuses. And I feel like so many people put those things out there as, here's my excuse why I'm not going to do this, when in reality, that's your reason why you should, right? You're living in fear or this person might be living in fear. Like I'm afraid of what people are going to think of me. That was one of my biggest things. So when I'm talking about hesitations, or when I'm talking to somebody and they're telling me about their hesitations, like I relate to those. So you want to be able to talk to people about that and put that out there. Make a post. Sometimes I'll make a post being like, man, I was so scared about what people would think about me. It took me several months to even say yes to an opportunity because I was scared of what Susie down the road was going to think of me and what she was going to say about me, and all these things. That was one of my biggest fears. So I talk about that. But the moment that I decided that it didn't matter what everyone else thought, that it didn't matter what Susie down the road was going to think of, this little sticker on my arm, or it didn't matter what she was going to say about, she started a new health and wellness company, like all these things. Like when I decided that none of that mattered and that my fears were most likely only thought of by me, like, because let's be honest, we are the ones that analyze our every move more than anybody else, right? So chances are Sally down the road doesn't even give a crap. Chances are maybe she's waiting for something, some sign or anything to help her out of a funk. You know what I mean? And so maybe she needs to be able to see you do it. You don't know that. So whenever I decided to push that fear aside, I was able to grow as a person. My health got better. Like my team grew. Like things just massively started to change when I started to believe in myself and stopped caring about what other people thought. That was one of my biggest hesitations. And I feel like that is one of the biggest hesitations that a lot of people have. Okay. So I talk about what my hesitation was, how I overcame it, and why I started doing this because of all of that. So those are things that I just want you to think about when making a post or talking in your Instagram stories. Like, be relatable, tell your story, be vulnerable, because that's what's going to get people in their feelings, and that's what's going to get people to be like, okay, Steph, I need to know more. You know what I mean? And then also give yourself some grace. Like, don't be doing this for 2 weeks and be like, okay, well, nothing's happening. Sometimes people reach out to me from following me from 3 years ago. Things take time. Some people reach out to me the first time they see something, and sometimes it takes them time, and you just have to be okay with that process. So that's kind of, when it comes to business partners, what I would suggest is just be real and authentic. Tell a story. What were you overcoming? Like, why did you start this? Like, where is this going to take you and your family in the future? Like, think about those things, because that's what people can relate to. And that's what's going to have people very interested in, like, this looks super simple. It looks like something that maybe I can do. Like, how do I make money with what you're doing, right? And on the customer side, it's not any different. Honestly, it's not any different. So if you're like, okay, like I really want to help somebody like feel better, like if you're having this experience yourself, like maybe you were like me and you were exhausted, you were stressed, you were mentally fogged, you just didn't feel good, you had that everyday headache and whatnot, and then you started your product and you are feeling you're having energy, you're being able to chase around your crazy toddler like I do without that stress, without having no patience. You're doing it, and you're being able to be more present for them on a happier tone, like things like that. Like that kind of thing obviously is changing your life around. So how can you use that to help other people? So post about that. Be like, wow, like I cannot believe like 3 months ago I wanted to nap every time my daughter napped. I wanted to all I wanted to do was sleep, or I never wanted to play with my kids, or whatever it is. Like, talk about that and just be like, but these 3 simple steps, or whatever it is, like, but this product has been a game changer. Like, I don't want to nap with her during the day. Like, I have all this energy to be able to do all the things. Like, I'm going on walks, I'm getting up and like taking care of me. I'm like working out, things like that. People are like, okay, because they can relate to how you were. They can relate to wanting to nap with their kids. They can relate to constantly being stressed. They can relate to never having the energy. They can relate to, not wanting to do any of their housework. They can relate to all of that. And if you can talk about that and then be like, but oh my goodness, this is how you're feeling today, they're going to be like, I want that energy. How is she doing that? Because I have a crazy daughter like her and I want that. You know what I mean? So like, you just have to be relatable and you just have to share your experience. One thing I want to talk about is making sure it is your experience, okay? So you may not have a before and after. Maybe you're starting your health journey and you don't have a before and after of yourself yet, and you don't have, you know, that 3, 4, 5, 6 months of a journey yet. That's okay. When I started with this industry and when I started with these products that I'm on, I didn't either. But I was able to talk about it on day one because I was able to analyze how I felt today versus how I felt yesterday, not on the products. Those are the things that are going to touch your customer base. So just be really authentic and just relatable with what you're feeling. You need a past, a present, and where this is taking you. You know what I mean? So think about that. I hope that helps when it comes to how to post to attract your business partners, how to post to attract your customers. It's really not any different. You just need to be super relatable in what both the business and the product are doing for you, where you were before, where you are now, and where it's taking you in the future. So thanks again. I hope this helps. And until next time.